If you're a Wolverine fan, please like.
And please subscribe. We appreciate it.
Go Blue. What's up, Michigan football fans? Back here with Coach Thornbladh after a disappointing loss to Illinois down in Champaign, 21-7. From what I could tell, undisciplined, uninspired Michigan football team out there. You know, we had a lot of penalties, 6 penalties. We lost the turnover battle. We did not go down there and, play like Michigan, like we said last week, Coach. What was your takeaway from the game? Where do you see our football team? How do we regroup? And what would you say to a team that is 4-3? Or sorry, yeah, 4-3.
4-3.
Coming off a tough loss after not really improving on the bye week, and now going into a rivalry game. So give me your breakdown, and then let me know what you would tell the team after this one.
Well, it was a disappointing performance. Uninspired, poor play. They poorly coached. I had to be honest with you. I love our coaches, but we have to be honest about these things. And I do not believe still, and this is not fair to say, that Illinois is a better team than we have. Now,
Yeah.
They had these tremendous throwback uniforms, and there was all this enthusiasm. But I feel strongly that we obviously weren't ready to play. I strongly believe we have a fine young man as our head coach, and he's the right man for the job. And he's learning on the job, too. So I would say this: whatever he did for those 2 weeks prior to the Illinois game, write in his book. I'm not going to repeat that. That's not the way. But teams historically have difficulty after bye. We can't make excuses about poor performance. We have to own up to it, and then we have to resolve ourselves that we're going to improve, and we're not going to continue to repeat these mistakes that have led us to this 2-2 in the conference. And honestly, right now, we shall not win the conference.
Yeah.
And we haven't been in this position for a couple years. Now, we have a great rivalry game coming up. It's more than enough to get excited about.
Yeah.
And be emotional about, and go out and want to be your best. So some of our goals are no longer available to us. But we play the game because we love to play the game. We coach the game because we love to coach the game. We're competitors. And this is a game that has a lot of meaning. The state divides up loyalties. So there's a lot to play for.
Yep.
And we can salvage this season. And we can get better. I feel like now one of the most important things coaches have to do is they have to know their team. Know their team. And I think I saw Sharon said, I want to know what's going on with our team mentally and spiritually. Where's our spirit? Where are we? And I think he took this week to try to determine that. So I think, the better you know your team, know the kids, know your players, know how they respond, why they respond, and how to affect the appropriate response. And also to understand what your relative strengths and weaknesses are. And so every game from now on, I think, has to have a different recipe, depending on the strengths of the opponent. We have to identify where Michigan State is good, and they're good in several places. Smith has done a wonderful job there. As disappointed as we are at 2-2 and 4-3 on the season, he's been really pretty competitive in all the games, to be honest. Even the Ohio State game, lost a close game out at BC.
Yeah, that's a tough loss for them.
Yeah, and then Oregon is is a gifted team that is number 1 in the country. So those are their losses. I think they are probably happy. Not happy. I think like everybody else, they want to win every game. That's not how they're built. They're competitors. But they're probably not disappointed. They probably anticipated they might be in the situation right now. And certainly Michigan has got to be disappointed because we thought we would be certainly better than this. At least our record would reflect. We'd have a better record, and it would reflect better play. So right now, they have to look inside themselves. The coaches have to do the same thing, and they have to devise a plan to win, understanding that we have limitations in some areas of our football, knowing that the opponent's going to continue to put 8 to 10 men up in that box to stop the run, and that we can run effectively. But the same token, we're going to have to devise a way to pass the ball safely in order to win the game. Because turnovers have spelled our doom. They always do. And we just have to eliminate those. Michigan State, interestingly enough, is also a turnover team. They're -6 on the season. We're -7 on the season, which is unheard of. And you tell me you're going to be -7 on the season, I'll tell you, you're going to be close to 500, perhaps even a losing record. So we know you can't do that in football. We know that you put yourself behind the proverbial 8 ball. So
I mean, Coach, when we came out against Illinois, we went punt, fumble, fumble. That's our first 4 drives.
miserable.
It's very hard to it's hard to dig yourself out of that hole when you're not a great passing team.
I was deeply disappointed.
Yeah, I mean,
because you know what the deal is, Rob, and whatever you do in life, you want to be your best or give a great effort, and I don't think we did. I do not think we were emotionally right. And I think
I think we could have won that game, even with all that went right there. If we after our first turnover, or maybe after that block kick, if we start to protect the football and we start eliminating penalties, we would put ourselves in a position. I mean, in the fourth quarter, we're marching down there to score, and we throw a pick. He throws a pick on a wheel route. There's a fumbles where the great punches out by the Illinois teams. Great offensive plays by them. We didn't, so many things. If we eliminate penalties and just maybe not all our turnovers, eliminate one.
That's the story. Right away, you go penalties, turnovers. You start to identify the mistakes that were made, and we still, and then even the words you have to say, we still had a chance to win it.
Well, and one thing that we were very lucky at
we shouldn't be saying that we still had a chance to win it. We should be saying, we were in control of the game, and playing well, and so that's where we got to be.
Where we're missing J.J. McCarthy and not just a quarterback is on third down. He was the best on 3rd and long. He always converted in third down situations. We don't extend the drive on 3rd down. So it puts our defense, no matter how great they are, in a bad situation. And then we give up plays, draw plays, scramble plays where they get a lot of yards.
Fake punt was killer.
I mean,
we got to be better than that. I mentioned special teams. We've been really erratic. Really erratic.
Really bad on special. Schematically, they're
not bad, erratic. We've made some good plays, but we've given up some huge plays.
I mean, when I played special teams coordinator, when I was a coach and special teams coordinator, I was so worried about fake punts, because if you hold somebody as a defensive coach and you get their punt team on the field and then they run it is just deflating. It's tough to get back on that field and put up another stand, without points.
They got that off the film. We obviously turned our back and started to run.
Well, one thing I didn't know, if you noticed, Coach, we were talking a lot about zone read last week. The quarterback's going to zone read. They were actually doing a fold play with their tackle and guard, and they were reading the 3 technique. So now the 3 technique, they're just leaving them go and climb into the backer, and the quarterback's reading him, and he's getting outside on the zone, and he's giving it. And I don't know if we knew what we were doing with our 3 technique and our inside backer. When the guy went straight to our backer and the 3 technique didn't have anybody on him, it's like he didn't know what to do.
Yeah, we were in disarray.
Yeah,
and I have felt like this whole week after the game that the program is in disarray. And then I quit feeling sorry about it and say, it's time to get going. And I started to look, I looked at what Sharon said. And the same thing I said, he's got to understand his team and he's got to talk to them and find out why, what's going through their mind, and then get mentally right. But then at the same time, he's got to understand, they got to understand what we can do well. They got to be creative offensively to move the ball. And then defensively, we have to play sound. We have a lot of ability on the defense. Now, what we do is, we blitz and we bring a lot of people up there. So they're on first down, we're blitzing every down. And then so we stop the run and they get limited gains. But then we have a terrible third down conversion percentage. We give up a lot of third down successes to the opponent. And so that's got to be corrected.
Well, and we hold tremendous in the backfield, in the defensive backfield, which I'm fine with. I tell them, hey, hold until you get caught. But once you get caught,
well, I'd rather play the game and not tell them to do that.
But once you get
that game is behind us, and I want it to be way behind us.
Well, we're staring down the barrel.
How we respond, and I want to see what we do, and I'm anxious to see it.
Well, this is, Coach. We're staring down the barrel of our schedule, and the media. Not that the media matters very much. Everyone's saying, hey, Michigan's going to be fortunate to go to a bowl game after winning national championship. Then they're saying some people are saying this is the worst coach Michigan team in the past 40 years, which these are probably the same guys that were telling us how great Sharon Moore was last year. So it really doesn't matter much, but you have to inspire your team off that. You have to bring some of that bulletin material into the locker room on a rivalry week and get these boys fired up, because I'll tell you, I saw Michigan State play Iowa, and they were flying around, Coach.
They put up 500 yards on 500 yards total offense.
Yep.
So on the Iowa defense that is so highly regarded, everybody raves and watch the Big Ten channel. They're greatest defense ever. They are not, and they demonstrated that. I mean, they're a good team. They're a competitive team. But let's look at the conference. Now, there's some really interesting games this weekend. The most interesting of all is the great rivalry for the Paul Bunyan Trophy. But Indiana and Oregon and Penn State on top are the conference leaders. Indiana and Oregon have a game in hand in the league on Penn State, who's 3-0. So they're in the driver's seat. And then Illinois at 3-1. Now, I said last week that the team that loses that game will be out, and we are out. We're going to play the games, and we're going to play to win, and we're going to play to be our very best, and we're going to compete, and each game we play. That's how we're going to look at it. But we're not going to win the conference. Wisconsin has a big game against Penn State this weekend, and that's going to be fascinating because I think they went back to their own brand of football, and it's going to be very interesting. And Penn State, who has a gifted team, and I mentioned that quarterback is really evolving. They're going to get punched in the mouth by Wisconsin, and up there, I think it's up there.
Oh yeah, Luke Fickell has those guys running, at a high pace and physical. They're playing
fine young coach, and it's going to be really interesting to see how Penn State. That game is going to have, of course, a lot of ramifications. And then and then Ohio State, of course, is 2-1. Ohio State, I think handed that game away. Poor clock management. They moved the ball that well, but give Oregon credit, they won that game. So Ohio State can ill afford to drop a game right now. And then comes the rest of us in the middle of the pack: Nebraska, Iowa, Michigan State, Minnesota, Washington, all at 2-2. Now, Washington plays Indiana. I want to watch that game because I have great regard for what this guy has done at Indiana. But this is going to be a tough game for them. They had a bye, and I think Coach Frisch is going to have them ready, and the IU quarterback is out. So that'll have great ramifications if Washington can, in fact, pull the upset And I think they can. I watched them play against us, and I think they got, they got players. They got some players out there. We talked about now Nebraska's going to play OSU. Nebraska got annihilated,
Gotten.
annihilated by Indiana, embarrassed.
It was
And
bad.
you watch, they will respond. And they're going to play Ohio State, who's coming off a bye week. And we talked about the bye week, and it's difficult to, most people don't have a good record after the bye week. It's hard to get back in rhythm. I always think that the first week you should make a regular week and have a scrimmage on Saturday to make like you're playing a game every week. But that would be my approach to it, and then keep the rhythm going. Illinois is going to play Oregon. We talked about that, and that'll be interesting. Illinois, of course, must have tremendous confidence now. They have a fine coach. Oregon is, had an easy game against, I think, Purdue last week, and so that's going to be interesting. And then, Northwestern Iowa, Maryland, Minnesota, but then Penn State, Wisconsin. So that's where we are in the conference. But we still, we're going to play every game, and we should play every game like it's the Super Bowl. Every game we're playing for the championship. That's how we have to look at it. Every down counts. We got to execute and do well. I think that this quarterback, I'm impressed by him. Now, he's been careless with the ball. He has 9 interceptions, and he's fumbled the ball 4 times himself, but he's run for over 266 yards. So you know what you would do, Rob? I'm sure if you're going to blitz, you'd put someone on him, right? And you'd want rush lane discipline, because when he comes out, when he escapes the pocket, he's dangerous. He's got a rifle on him, that kid.
Yeah, he has a cannon.
I really think he's a gifted quarterback, very athletic, and he presents a great problem to us. They have 2 really good running backs. I think their receivers really get down the field fast. They get into their routes, and they throw the ball deep. They get deep plays. They throw flags. This guy has a tight end that'll be a professional football player, and he loves to run bootlegs. He'll run veterans.
The wide receiver,
Marsh is out of River Rouge.
He's good.
We did not recruit him.
That was a mistake. He is good. He is
really good. He's 18 yards a catch.
Oh my God!
He's out of River. He's a true freshman, and he's really, really a heck of a receiver.
Yeah.
And they have a couple other guys that have caught 24, 25 balls. It's the quarterback. It's the quarterback for them. They have not been good at pass blocking. They will have their hands full with our rushers. We have really gifted rushers with Mason and Grant, and of course Josiah Stewart is a handful out there. Is TJ Guy. So I think when you look at those things, our defense against their offense, I think winning this game, we're going to have to weighs heavily on our defense.
I think our defense actually
on this kid, rush discipline, but we got to get to him too, and we got to make him make some errors, and he's done that. He has proven to be careless with the ball. Now on the other side, we got to get back to run the ball effectively. What concerns me is with Michigan is that if we have a bad play on first down, it's difficult for us to throw the ball and get a lot of yardage on third down and convert. So I think that and I'm not sure what he's going to do. I assume he's going to go with Tuttle. He indicated that. There has been some talk about the freshman. The freshman could play 4 games, and not lose a year of eligibility. The freshman from Charlotte, Jaden. What's his name, Rob?
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels, yeah. Gifted kid. Now, they didn't like his throwing mechanics, but, at this point, maybe you look at it where I want to get snaps for this guy because we're going to talk about the future, too. Not that we're going to throw this season away.
No, but I also think this is what we got, too. Like I know this is a day and age where you got to retool and you can get people in the transfer portal, but shit, at the end of the day, you got to say, hey, this is who we got. This is who we're going to play with. And, I don't mind if Tuttle turns the ball over. I mean, Warren Davis, give him another shot. I mean, it's pretty similar.
We have to. But we have to coach them not to do it.
Yeah.
And they can't throw in the tight windows. They're not good enough to do that. I still think I want to see some receivers, the Walker kid. I want to see those guys come out and make some plays. Um, Now they have a guy who's got about 3 interceptions back there, and but I think the matchup is not bad, but I think we got to have some short passes on first down to give us second and manageable, and
So
third and manageable where we can run the ball. So in a real sense, and this is true with almost every game. Now they have a great kicker,
yeah, I
um,
know.
just like we do. He's kicked a 50-yard long one, and he's kicked a ton of field goals because they get down the red zone last week against what they kicked. I don't know how many field goals they had last week, but he made them all, and that was the difference in the game. And they're much better at their net punt. It's 44 yards. Our net punt is 37 yards. That's not. You got to be 38 to be any good. We're not good enough punting the ball. And so they might have the edge in kicking, even though I think our guy, who was 8 for 9, he missed a field goal on a bad hold, is outstanding with a long of 55. And their kid, it's 15 for 16 with a long of 55. So there that is. So we got to get in a position where we can control this game and then get some tempo and some momentum and rush the ball. We're going to be in our home stadium. That's a great advantage. I think this guy's a really good coach, Coach Smith up there, and I give him all credit. I don't know how many players he exchanged. I think it's 40 or 50 that are new on the roster. You might have the number, Rob, but it was a significant amount.
It was unbelievable. They don't now, halfway through or a little over halfway through the season, they don't look like that. At the beginning of the season, they did look like they had a whole bunch of. He's really brought them together through in a very quick time.
I thought they played tremendously against Iowa, and if you remember, I predicted they would.
Yeah.
And I like this quarterback, and I like this coach. He's a play action guy. And he's a zone read guy. One thing we got to do when they have that zone read, and they have 2 good backs. I mean, really good backs.
I know. I like the kid from Warren G. Harding, which we've got a lot of. I wonder if we recruited him because we've got a lot of great players from there. Mario Manningham,
but who knows?
Prescott Burgess. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I mean,
Lynch
so
Adams. You're talking about Lynch Adams.
Our QB's name was Jaden Davis, not Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is the guy for Washington Commanders.
I'll take Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I'll take. Yeah,
can we get him? I think he's hurt. Can he come down?
I'll still take him. Yeah, exactly.
We'll put Davis on there.
No,
Jaden Davis. But Jaden Davis is. Jaden Davis, I understood that part of it is his parents weren't anxious to see him play right away. They wanted him to grow. They also thought he had some mechanical issues throwing the ball that they wanted to correct. But holy cow, we've been through a lot here, and I think Sharon indicated that we might see him a little bit.
Well, it's
play up to 4 games and not lose a year of eligibility.
I'd love to see it. It's hard for me because you see J.J. McCarthy, his career and how great it was. Redshirting was good for him and Tom Brady and these other guys. But you also see Chad Henne. We had 3 quarterbacks go down. All of a sudden, 2 days before his freshman year, Miami of Ohio, he's playing the game. He has an unbelievable career. It's he's our last 5-star quarterback that played as a freshman. Ryan Mallett did it for a little bit, but he was a redshirt. We still had Chad Henne, and then he got injured, and Ryan came in for a little bit.
Well, I'm not at practice, but I think it sounds like that they're getting reps. He's getting reps now. He's just not down there on the other end, portraying the other team's quarterback. Although I'm not sure how they can simulate Childs well, because it'll be difficult because he's a big, strong, elusive guy.
One thing I do want to
come down to and say, and I always say this about this game, the most important thing for us is to be the best team in the state of Michigan.
Yep.
That comes before anything, and we need to demonstrate that. Be the champion of the state of Michigan, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a difficult test for us. But the harder their test, the greater their triumph.
Yep.
We got to come back. We got to prove to ourselves and to the country that we can play outstanding football, consistent football, and play physically, and that's our hallmark. Run the ball, that's what we do well, but throw the ball effectively, but take care of the ball. So part of it's going to be limiting, and not allowing Childs to beat us, with his gifted athletic ability. But our quarterback not beating us either
Yeah.
by turning the ball over and playing smart and doing things, not taking chances, throw the ball out of bounds if somebody's not open. Don't try to throw it in there if you don't if small windows. But by the same token, you just have to make plays and do a good job and lead the team. Um, so our offensive line seems to be improving. It's not the best offensive line we've ever had. We won a more award the last 3 or 4 years for the best offensive line in the country. I think Washington got it last year, but the 2 years prior to that, we won it. We've lost all these great leaders and all these players, so we have these young linemen that I think are developing. We talk about how we play this, we run gap football, and we get up to the second level. And Saban said that Michigan's offensive line, when we played them a year ago, was as well coached as any offensive line he's ever seen. Now, these guys are coached by the same people, so we expect them to mature and get better. This is a huge game. This game, I talked about how important it is within our state. There's a lot of pride involved. There's been a lot of great players play on both sides of this game. And it's devastating when you lose.
Yeah.
It's not fun to lose this game because you hear about it, and you hear about it pretty much everywhere you go.
Yeah. I'm interested to see the Michigan State offense versus our defense. I think we match up good, just because of the nature of our offense and how they run it. They get under center, they play action. He has a 5 to 7 step drop. He gets in the shotgun. They run zone stuff with their zone concepts with pullers, same as our offense. I think our defensive line will fare good next well to that because they'll know how to line up, they'll know how to hit it, they'll know how to they'll understand these plays because they've been practicing them against them for a long time. So I think it's not unsimilar to our offense. I think it will be great for our defense. Same story as last week. We need our defensive backs to play a little bit better. If that happens, I really like our defense against this offense. Now,
we have the best two defensive tackles in the country.
Yeah. Their quarterback's a problem, Coach. Their quarterback is a problem.
Rams played at a high level. They haven't blocked. They haven't pass blocked. The quarterback is a problem because he's really gifted.
Yeah.
He's got a rifle. I mean, he's got a rocket, a cannon. He can throw the ball deep, and he can throw it on a run, and he can escape the pocket, and he'll run the ball. I think he's run for 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And for 266 yards. Not taking out the losses. That's what he's gained when he's decided to run the ball. So he's good. And we have to limit him. And the way we do that is contain him. Let's keep him in the pocket. Let's make him beat us by throwing, inside the pocket. Let's not allow him to extend the play and then make it very difficult to cover on the back end because, you're running all over the place with a guy when they start to scramble.
We have to be disciplined, like you said, gap discipline and keep our lanes. We can't start peaking when our D line peaks and he'll find a crease and go. If we get out of where we're supposed to be, and there's a wide opening and our backers have flown out of there to cover somebody, which I don't see our linebackers getting many hands on receivers. I'll tell you, when we had Devin Bush, he used to annihilate receivers. He would always disrupt their routes. They couldn't come across the middle, and when they did catch stuff, he brought the pain. So I'd like to see that a little bit more. But yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, Coach. I just
no. Hey, those are good points. So you're right. We've got to cover them. We've got to cover those backs out of the backfield, and that's our linebackers' job. Yeah. And they also have a really gifted tight end. He came with them from Oregon State, Vetters, and I'll guarantee he's going to be targeted at least 8 times.
Yeah.
And they love to run a bootleg, where they fake the ball and they're going to run it and they're going to threaten the perimeter where Childs is either going to throw it to the tight end or he's going to run the ball himself. So we can't get flattened out too quickly. And then on the run game, when they're running that outside zone, we got to penetrate and get upfield and turn everything back in. Now, do we have the players to do that? Yes. We got a lot of good players on our defense. Yep. So, my sense is that we cannot make any mistakes special teams. Let's say that again. We can't have these fake punts. We can't have punt returns. Can't do it. By the same token, if we can, disrupt them, block one of their punts or their kicks, that'll be good. We know that when this kid, their kid, like our kid, their kicker, gets in proximity, within 55 yards, it could be 3 points. So we have to be aware of that, and we have to keep them there on their side of the field. We have to contain this quarterback. We have to. On offense, we have to. We can't. Donovan Edwards is. I love him. Been a great player for us. I do not expect a veteran player like that to fumble the ball. Right down there at the end when we're trying to come back at Illinois. We have to take care of the football. I think Mullings has been having a great season. I would run him. We're going to use Donovan, of course, as a change-up back in many ways. And he can go the distance if he breaks a tackle. We know that. We love Donovan. I don't want to be critical of him. By the same token is, the team that wins a turnover battle in this game is probably going to win the game.
Well, Coach, what would Bo say if you fumbled like that? He wouldn't care if you
sit down.
Yeah.
I did it one time and he sat me down. And he goes, you're not going to play, and he did it with quarterbacks too. They throw a couple careless interceptions, they sat down.
Yeah.
I mean, that was it. He wasn't going to tolerate it because he knew if you did, you couldn't allow it. You just can't allow it. You got to take care of the ball. It's a precious possession, and you certainly can't give the opponent short fields or easy touchdowns. So this is a huge game.
Oh, unbelievable, Coach.
I have a lot of Michigan State friends, but they're not my friend on Saturday. They'll be my friend on Sunday, Friday, but I want to beat them. And I want our team to think like that. This is a big game. It is not easy to lose this game for either side. Either side's miserable if you lose this game.
Well, when it's you're on the field and it's the third quarter, fourth quarter, and in the stadium, nobody's thinking about what our record is. It's Michigan State.
Forget about it. Throw it out. Throw it out. Doesn't matter. This is Michigan State.
Yeah.
All bung a trophy. It means everything. Now, these guys voted against me and cost me a Rose Bowl. Yep. I'm not forgetting that.
Yeah.
I would like to tell the team, do that for us. Do it for us. I did tell them that last year. Remember those old guys that got cheated out of the Rose Bowl when their athletic director voted against us for Ohio State for the Rose Bowl and cost us. Not that I remember it. But
so many iconic moments.
There's a lot of history to this rivalry, but I want to focus on the competition. There's been some stupid things, fighting in a tunnel and all that stuff. We don't want that. We want it to be a clean, fair game between two hotly contested, between two teams that desperately want to win the game because of the pride involved and the great competition that it is. That's how we look at it, and that's how Michigan has to look at it. Michigan's got to play like Michigan. You cut this crap out. They don't come out half-hearted. You don't do that. You play like Michigan. You play with everything you got. And sometimes you're not going to come out on top, but the opponent will know they've been to contest. And we're not just going to go out there and make a ton of mistakes and look sloppy because you only get so many opportunities. You only get so many at-bats when you play college football, when you play football at all. So when you're a player and a coach, you got to take full advantage of it. Now, I'm confident that our coaches have rectified the ship and they got it moving forward. Now, Sharon understands the magnitude of this game. Some of the coaches are new, but Bellamy and these guys have been around. Knew some of these guys, they understand, and so they know we better be at our best. I hope we have a good plan. I hope we can throw successfully and short on first down, so we have manageable second and third downs. If they get us in a position where we have third and long, that's not our strong suit. We know that. By the same token, hopefully we can start to hit some passes. Loveland is a great receiver. Some of these other kids got to step up and get open. And the Tuttle, whoever it is, has to make good choices. Good choices. The biggest thing a quarterback did, you want to know Tom Brady better than anybody? He made better choices than anybody. He saw the field. He knew exactly where to go. And then he executed. And that's what we got to do. And I believe we're going to do it. I'm optimistic. I remain optimistic. Now what we say about these things is when Michigan doesn't play well, and after all the success we've had, everybody's down, and they all want to throw in the towel. We're not throwing it in. We're not. We're not doing it. We won't play the rest of the season, and whoever plays us is going to know they're going to game, and we're going to prepare and get ready. Thomas Paine said, at the beginning of the Revolutionary War, we had this monolithic army coming over here to defeat us, that we had no chance. We had a guy named Washington leading our army. These are the time that tries men's soul. It's no time for the summer soldier or the sunshine patriot. So we got to be Michigan people, and we got to believe in our team, and we got to let them know it, and we got to hang in there and believe we're going to win, because this is a game. Look, we've all lived in this state, and the Michigan State guys will say the same thing. This is a game of importance, and this is a great contest to play in because there's emotion in it. I mean, remember that punt they blocked to beat us with an Australian kicker? Devastating loss when we had the game in hand. And I know Michigan State guys, and that's on their there's a picture of that block punt on their phone. That's what what the background is. So this game means a lot to them and a lot to us, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
And it's always fun to play the neighboring school.
Yep.
It's always fun to play our sister school in the state of Michigan, and there's a lot at stake, and we want to beat them, and they want to beat us. So let's go. Let's play ball. Let's get going.
Well, rivalry week, Coach. Let's, like you said, play with everything we got. Let's go out there and kick some Spartans' butt this week. Go Blue.
Let's go. Go Blue. Let's go get them, guys. Let's go.